What's going on, guys? So I recently asked on my team page, I have a page on Facebook that's for clients only, and there's a lot of good discussion that happens in this group. But what I did was I asked for video ideas, anybody who had any questions that they want me to do a video topic on. And one of the questions I got was from actually an ex-client who, she did a tremendous job. She dropped a significant amount of fat and she got to her goal body composition. Note, goal body composition, not goal weights. And she got there, we reversed her out, and now she's been maintaining for, I think it's around like 7-8 months. I'd have to actually go back, but it's definitely over a half a year. Now, her question was like how to go about an actual maintenance phase, because she's basically saying that she stresses more about maintaining her weight loss now, more so than she did actually trying to lose the weight. So, you know, what are some of the tips and strategies that we can go about to make sure that we maintain our weight and try to keep some of the stress out of our lives, because obviously we want to keep things stress-free. Now, before I get into that, the first thing I want to say that one of the most important aspects of being able to maintain your weight and actually keep your progress that you've made is to do what we did, which was go through a reverse diet after the fat loss phase. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that most people make. They reach their goals, they get where they want to be, and then they're just done. So they either jump their calories way back up right away, or they completely disregard any type of tracking or any type of food monitoring, and they just kind of go back into their old habits and do whatever they want. Your metabolism is slow, especially after a longer fat loss phase. When your calories have been lower, your metabolism is going to be slower than it was before. So if you just jump your calories right back up again, your body can't handle it. You're going to put on a lot more fat than you want, and this is why it's so hard to maintain. So the first thing we did, and she responded tremendously. She responded really well. We reversed her out, jumped her calories like, it was like 700 or 800 over a several month period, and got her calories nice and high. She continued to maintain her weight, and then she felt like she was ready to do things on her own, which is awesome. That's great. That's my goal as a coach, is to get you to a point where you can do things on your own. So what are some of the things that we can do to take some of the stress out and make sure that we can maintain? Now, one of the things I want to say about this is, I think the reason why it's easier to maintain focus in a fat loss phase is because we have a goal in mind, all right? Most people tend to do better if they have goals in sight. So if your goal is to drop the body fat, that's your goal. You know, you're working hard towards that. You can kind of see the end and you're working towards it. But maintenance is kind of it's a goal, but it's not like a real tangible goal, right? Like you want to maintain your weight, you want to maintain your composition, but you're not really working towards something. And it's much easier if you can work towards something. So the first thing we can do is set some different goals. Make sure you have goals that you're chasing. If you're happy with how you look and how you feel, and you just don't want to worry about changing body composition, that's great. But now maybe you change your goals to something more weight training specific. Maybe you try to, work up to getting stronger during certain lifts. Maybe you work on something else regarding fitness that can take your mind off of trying to maintain that weight. So if you have something that you can work towards, you're not just sitting there thinking about where's my weight at all the time, right? The other thing that we can do is, if you completely stop tracking, maybe you need to get back onto tracking again. Okay, maybe a little bit looser. You don't have to be so stringent. Your calories are higher now. You don't have to be so picky to try to maintain your weight, but some form of tracking, if you're not doing it, can help. So perhaps you're going to interchange your carbs and fats instead of tracking all three macros. So you're just going to focus more on calories. Maybe you'll have bigger ranges. Maybe you'll try to get within 20 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbs, and 10 grams of fat. Something like that, where you're not being too stringent upon your tracking system, because you don't want to be super hyper focused on this all the time. For most people, it's going to be a little too tough. It's going to lead to a little bit of burnout. So you want to be a little bit more lax when you're in a maintenance phase, especially when calories are higher. So along the same lines, we want to make sure we're still monitoring things. You want to make sure that you're still stepping on a scale every once in a while, or at least still taking progress pictures or doing measurements or something. You're probably a little bit more focused on the stuff in a fat loss phase, but a big danger can be you get to your goal and then you just stop keeping track of that stuff. You stop taking pictures, you stop measuring yourself, you stop weighing yourself, and then all of a sudden several months go down, and then you step back on the scale again, and all of a sudden you're up 10 pounds, and you go, well, what the heck, how did that just happen? Well, if you're monitoring yourself more closely, that's not gonna happen. If you see things start to creep up a little bit, you can make some adjustments and bring it back down again. But the goal shouldn't be to just be the exact same all the time. You gotta understand there's gonna be fluctuations, but it's just keeping things from getting out of hand. That's really what we're trying to do in a maintenance phase. So if you're just making sure that things don't get out of hand, you're not going to gain it all back. The only way you're going to gain it all back is if you just completely go off, completely stop what you're doing, completely stop paying attention to what you're doing. then it can happen. But if you still keep an eye on things, if you still keep working towards something, it's very unlikely that the weight's just going to suddenly come back on you, all right? It doesn't happen that fast. So that's really just something you need to keep in mind. So just to recap, how to maintain coming out of a fat loss phase. Make sure you reverse diet out of your fat loss phase and take your time, because there's no rush, all right? Take your time. You have the rest of your life if you just want to maintain it. So don't rush your calories back up. Take your time, get your metabolism working for you better again so that you can get calories higher. After that, make sure you have some sort of goal that you're chasing, something that you're working towards, because if you're just sitting there just hoping to maintain and not really focusing on anything, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the majority of people. Some people might be able to handle it, but I believe for the most part, people need goals to chase of some sort. All right, so what that goal is for you is totally up to you, but I would really recommend getting some kind of goal to work towards. And after that, just make sure you're keeping an eye on things. Continue to monitor. You might need to track a little bit, maybe not hyper-focused. Maybe you just need to eat intuitively. If that works for you, that's fine. But you just have to keep an eye on things and make sure that things don't get out of hand, all right? Remember, the weight's not gonna come back on overnight, but if you never pay attention to where you're at and how things are going, that's how the weight tends to creep back on again. So just monitor things and make adjustments if you notice things starting to slip a little bit, all right? That's pretty much all I got. If you have any questions whatsoever, please drop it in the comments below. If you have a different topic you would like me to cover, by all means, just let me know and I'd be happy to do it. And otherwise, I will see you guys later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.